Hello guys and welcome to the ProDota Cup series by Smashcast TV. We are in the last series of the day for this tournament because it's only the SCA region currently going on and these teams are duking it out to ensure they can stay in this beautiful tournament. Because we are in the lower brackets, guys, watching the Prime NND versus Execration. It's the second match of the best of three and the first match went, might I add, pretty convincingly to the Prime NND. This team from Greater Jakarta had some ups and downs to that game, but are able to bring it back in the end, showing their superior skill, experience, and leadership, making the Prime NND the prime target for the victory in the second matchup. They're hoping to win this 2-0. Will Execration let them? Let's see how strong of an opposition they can put up. My name is DSwordfish. I'll be your cast for today. Let's get right into the draft. Ooh, that's a strong opposition, alright. And the Prime NND pick up a Magnus, Crystal Maiden, and this time, boom, a Slaughter. They change it up a bit. They say we need some Slithering Crust to go with this RP. A lot of damage and a bit of zone out with the Freezing Fields. Crystal Maiden, pretty effective in addition to Crystal Maiden Slaughter being a great combination in the early game. Of course, the first things they banned because of these two picks are the Troll Warlord and the Lifestealer, but they still have the Sven and the Juggernaut available to them. Both heroes that are pretty good against Spectre. Now, Execration, pick up a Nyx Assassin, Warlock, Rubik, and Spectre now. Interesting idea for the Spectre, like I said, Juggernaut. The Spectre is able to combine well with an Invoker, for example. We have seen them run Spectre Zeus, but I hope that's not the case. And Invoker is actually powerful with what Execration is running, but sadly, actually, no, Invoker's gone. It might be a Spectre Zeus. It actually might be a Spectre Zeus. Would not be too bad because it destroys the Slaughter before they can come to you. You can stop Blinks easily with your Static Field. The Juggernaut can kill you easily, but the whole point is that the Juggernaut will never get to you until he gets the Blink Dagger and you win in the early game anyway. So it could be that kind of lineup. For now, Execration has a lot of ganking power, utilizing the Spectre and the Nyx Assassin, but is lacking that in the supports, with the Rubik and Warlock being more angled towards defense than towards offense, making them kind of weak when in combination with the Spectre. However, the Warlock offers something different, which is the Spectre usually gets the nutrition he needs, gets the I would say they get the I'm trying to see what would be the right thing to do. What would be the right thing to say? They get the gold, I guess, from the haunt kills, and they actually really relies on that gold from the haunt kills to go up and up and up in that regard, right? To go up in gold and get further kills and whatnot. And the issue here that Spectre is not going to have that ganking power because it's only the Nyx Assassin, but they do have a lot of lane sustain with the Warlock and the Shadow Ward, allowing the Spectre to get a decent amount of farm in the early game and thus snowball a bit out of control, which is the whole point here. The Prime NND now have to pick up a mid, and Execration need another mid, so it's mid versus mid that both teams need to pick up. The Ember Spirit has been banned. The TA has also been banned for Execration. Let's see what the Prime NND pick up now. They are up against a Spectre, and they do have a Juggernaut Slaughter, so they actually have a lot of power here in terms of ganking ability, especially with the Magnus too. The RP, you combine that with the Juggernaut, they have a lot of pushing power, so it's good. What could you run? Maybe something like a Lina, for example, to win the lane. It's quite an easy and simple pick, and it would work well with the Magnus. Of course, the RP into Lightstrike Array. You could always run a Darkseer, but of course the Darkseer is banned. That would have been a really good pick if you run him in the off lane, Magnus in the mid lane. Let's see. I like the Lina. I very much like the Lina for the Prime NND. Frank, it is Rosemine. Actually, against a Spectre, no, the Tinker will be really weak, and of course the Invoker's been banned now. The Queen of Pain is again a possibility. Oh, well, fuck, I know this guy too well. I don't know why I even bothered picking up another heroes. Lina picked up easily by Rosemine. It was a pretty obvious pick. Now to go against the Lina OD, no, Puck. Puck is going to be the pick for Execration. There's no Gabby playing the Puck, so it's not as good as it used to be, or that shouldn't be Gabby at the very least. So I don't know how much I trust that. Don't know how much I trust that Puck. Honestly, because you have to be pretty good to beat Lina with a Puck. You have to play aggressively and not get killed too much by what the enemy team is doing. Oh, interesting. Okay, is Rosemine actually playing Slaughter mid, or is it just a Slaughter in the support position? But is Rosemine playing Lina? Maybe R7 is much more confident than Lina. Oh, they're just swapping around. Okay, they're just joking around. Alright, it's not going to be a Lina support. I don't think it's a Crystal Maiden mid, so... Right, what I said here is... for Execration, they have a good amount of teamfight potential, and now with the Puck gives them a more killing potential, able to use the Haunt much more efficiently. However, the early game is still going to be quite hard for them. Utilizing the Warlock and the Rubik to punish any sort of aggression by the Slaughter is good, but of course the Slaughter can dive towers without being hurt too much, which means that like, Telekinesis is not that great of a spell against these kind of heroes, right? On top of that, you do have the healing of the Warlock, and the healing of the Warlock works perfectly fine, and it does help you out, of course, considerably, but it might not be... Might not be good enough to stop the Crystal Main and the Slaughter attacks in the early game. In fact, I do have to give it to the Prime NND in terms of drafting. I do believe they have a much, much better drafting stage here than the enemy team does. In this case, Execration. They might be able to take the 2-0. The only issue here is just the Magnus offers the same amount of team fight as the Puck, except in a lower area. Before you had the Darksteer with the Warlock, which is a very different kind of team fight than the Magnus. In this case, you have a Dream Coil plus the Golem. They're still very powerful. The Chaotic Offering plus Dream Coil is a good combo, but I don't know if it's good enough to stop... it's good enough to be above, say, the RP plus Slithering Crush, and also a Freezing Field to go with it, and all the damage Lena's going to do. Essentially, the Prime NND, if they win the lanes early, then they're just going to snowball out of control and win. And they're going to go for an aggressive tri lane again, which I love. I mean, with the Juggernaut, even works better. This better than the Sven, because he can actually get kills with Blade Fury, and the Warlock cannot heal you fast enough in the early game, so you can really utilize that Slaughter and the Crystal Maiden early on. Right, that said, guys, let's present the teams real quick. My name is DSwordfish. I will be your caster for today, and let's see what the teams have for us today. Lil Meek will be playing the Rubik in the support position for the Execration team, because they will be the Radiant today. The Warlock played by 2 lines, again repeating the same hero in the other support position. In the offlane, S-God will be on the Nyx Assassin. In the mid lane, 3 boxes is going to be running a Puck, and then finally as the carrier, Harlequin as the Spectrum. As for the Prime NND, we have on the Dire side this team from Greater Jakarta. It's NFR on the Crystal Maiden, the second support being R7 playing the Slaughter. Panda will be running the Juggernaut in the carry position. In the mid lane, we have Alina played by Rusman, and then finally the Magnus played by BFL. Best friends for life. Big fat loser. It could also be, considering he's playing Magnus, you never know. Like, there's a chance that... Yeah. Who do you think will win? I don't understand this game, but I bet $100 in Execration. You have it a bit, yeah, Vodiev Macer. I don't think this is going to be an easy game for you. I really don't think that's going to be easy, because the Prime NND not only are winning by 1 best-of-3 already, or by 1 match of this best-of-3 already, but they also have a pretty strong lineup. And here's why, actually, I like this. I'm able to explain this lineup to someone that doesn't really play this game. So understand this, and I'm going to try to do it as simple as possible, and tell me if you don't understand something. The Prime NND goes for a lineup that has, okay, this is dangerous, careful, body block, actually just getting a lot of damage onto S-God. The Prime NND has a lineup that's pretty secure and safe to execute. What does safe to execute mean? It's easy to do what they want to do with this lineup. Of course, it's actually very easy. Rusman dominates the lane against the Puck easily because he has a lot of damage, so you can use an area to both last hit and to deal damage to the Puck. It's useful. Then in the top lane, you also have in this case, a Magnus, which allows you to have both team fight because of his RP and the immense stun. RP is an ability that has a stun in an area, and it's actually a 3.75 second stun, which is huge. In addition to a bit of damage, but that's not a big deal, and it also piles everyone on. But he also has an Empower, an ability that gives you a cleave and damage, allowing you, the Juggernaut, to, for example, whenever this, the cleave, by the way, is like any other game's cleave, allowing the Juggernaut to farm in the downtime. In other words, take a lot of creeps and get more items, similar to how other MOBAs work. The whole point of the Juggernaut is to get a lot of items. So use the RP if you do happen to get a team fight, and you fight with the RP if necessary. Like I said, the reverse polarity. The Juggernaut comes in with the Empower, has the cleave, and since they're all bunched up in an area, deals a bunch of damage in an area. And then if the team fight doesn't come out because the enemy team has decided not to, and they're just scared of what the Magnus can do, then you go with the Juggernaut in this case, and you destroy them basically by out-farming them with the Empower, because you can go into the jungle, which is this area over here, take creep camps really easily, and utilize the Empower's cleave, which allows you to hit multiple creeps at the same time, thus farming a bit faster, thus getting more items. And you're up against a Spectre, someone who doesn't farm too well, and whose stat gain is also quite low. From 2.0 per level, 2.3 HP per level is okay, but 1.8 agility per level is one of the lowest. In comparison, the Juggernaut, one of the worst agility carries in terms of stat gain, actually has a 2.4 agility gain per level. That's 0.6 more. The maximum is 3.3, which heroes like Klinks or Luna have, sorry. Klinks, Luna, Mirana, etc, etc. Right. Hopefully I was very condensed. That was a very, very condensed explanation, but this is why the Prime has a slight advantage. But it could be either team, honestly. In Dota, it's kind of hard to tell, because even though the draft matters, Dota's gone to a stage where it's so complex, so much more than other MOBAs, that it's actually unable. You can't just say the draft is going to win. Other MOBAs, it's a bit simpler, honestly, even though Dota is probably the one most centered around drafting. But in Dota, though, it's so much more about execution. The execution has so much nuanced things to it. Impossible to guess, honestly. If someone tells you they can guess what a match is, they're really smart, maybe, but they're also lying. There's never a way to guess how they're going to play. Sorry, Vodiev Meister. Maybe not gonna look. Hope you understood the game though. The idea is to understand the game slowly, watch these games, lose a bit of money. Don't worry. I'm not particularly a bettor, but I do have a lot of friends that bet. So I think the idea is to understand the game first, start seeing how they play, and once you start noticing how they play and like the little nuances, you'll see why a team is good and why a team is bad. In fact, let's do an interesting analysis while they're not attacking each other, because this is actually a pretty cool thing that I've been meaning to do for a while. Why would you bet on the Prime NND, or why would you bet on Execration? What is the better team here? Well, Execration is a team that constantly uses stand-ins. What does this mean? This means that Execration does not have a solid lineup that is always the same, right? They don't have the same players, meaning they lack usually coordination and cohesion, which are two words which essentially mean team fight. They don't really do things well as a team. They usually go alone, and they use these global lineups and this early game domination because it's much easier to play as not a unit, essentially, as individuals in the early game than it is in the late game, because in the early game it's much more split out into lanes. So Execration will be really good against teams, for example, that want to win the early game, because they're even better at winning the lanes, as you can see against the Prime NND. However, in this case, the Prime NND is more of a team that aims for the mid game, and that has much more cohesion because they've been playing together for a really long time. They're also all, I quote-unquote, bad players in the sense that they haven't played in other teams. Oh, careful. Harlequin stunned out. Blade Fury. And that's going to come out. Harlequin's going to start receiving a lot of damage. A Spectral Dagger helping her out for a while. Oh, it's actually going to save her life. R7 catches out the Warlock now. Maybe with a Frostbite, but they don't use it. And Panna's on the Blade Fury anyway, so it's fine. Right, the point is, in this matchup, for example, the Prime NND will actually have a slight advantage because they like playing the mid-game, something that heavily counters an early-game laning stage style, because once you get to the mid-game, the Prime NND will have a much bigger impact. More importantly, Execration likes to go for early-game ganks and early-game wins, whereas the Prime NND is much more of a dominating the lanes kind of hero. They like picking heroes like Lina or Crystal Maiden, which help the lanes go well and help them get a lot of assets in the early game to snowball to a decent mid-game. This really crushes Execration style, and it forces them to go for heroes, for example, like Warlock or Rubik, that actually play much more defensively, and go for a hero like Spectre, which I assure you will not work too well for them coming the late game because they will lack, again, that coordination as a team. So that's why, if you're betting against Execration versus the Prime NND, who's going to win? Anyone can win, obviously, that's always a possibility, but there's a slight angling because of the playstyles towards the Prime NND. However, say if Execration were playing against a late game team, especially like a lot of European teams, Alliance is a really good one. Alliance likes taking every late game into the 80-90 minute mark. I remember just a week ago I was casting only their, I was alone in BTS Spanish casting all their games. It was fucking horrendous. No, I'm kidding. I like watching Alliance, but god, if when every game is 90 minutes or more, it's really annoying. And they even won some of them and they lost some of them. But Alliance would suck against Execration because Execration likes putting their early game domination and would really crush them with their style. Now, Lil Meek is being Blade Fury torn to pieces. What are you gonna do, Lil Meek, to escape this? One last crit, and Panda gets the first blood. But Harlequin still following Panda. No Desolate. Oh yeah, it does have Desolate, but not dealing any damage to him. I guess Juggernaut was just lucky that the catapult was here. Do you think Elements Pro Gaming or Mouse Sports win? That's hard to say. Now, that's a pretty bad bet, mainly because both teams are really inconsistent. Usually, you'd go for Mouse Sports because they play better than Elements Pro Gaming on the average day, but similarly, they're both really inconsistent teams, and Mouse Sports has been playing really badly. So, if the odds are in favor of Mouse Sports by a lot, say it's like 80% to 20% or so, I know that's not a betting show, but I just like talk about these things, then you would probably bet on Elements Pro Gaming. The chance of them winning are probably lower, but there could cause an upset. It's not that hard to imagine, especially because Mouse Sports have been losing a lot recently. Look at the recent matchups. If Mouse Sports has gotten out of the slump, then you're set. Otherwise, you're kind of screwed, and you just don't bet on that game, and you wait for a more consistent game. Or a safer game to bet on. Right, you never bet on unsafe games. It's possible because it's just up to the players and how they perform. Dota's too inconsistent in some cases. But yeah, I hope that's useful. And hope you're learning the world of Dota. Watching these games is very fun. I mean, personally, I really love them. And of course, if you bet on them, it gives them a bit more excitement. But yeah, you'll start loving Dota, especially as a spectator sport. It's really fun to watch, and I hope my casting is sufficient enough. Always like getting new people into Dota. Right, that's the betting hour done. The betting hour. Just seeing how these teams are doing. For now, the net worth is actually, oops. What happened in the bottom? Oh, it's good. They'll make this die to Panda. Slithering Crush and Blade Fury. Right, the net worth is going very much in favor of the Prime NND. Why is this happening? Well, pretty obvious. Because you're winning the aggressive tri lane. The Juggernaut has 44 last hits, you compare it to the Spectre's 30. The Magnus is, of course, winning the lane against Nick's Assassin, because Magnus is better than Nick's Assassin in lane, period. And the guys from the Prime NND are then winning every single lane, because they forced the supports in the bottom lane to stay there. Both the Warlock and the Rubik, for most of the time. The Rubik just died because the Warlock was actually not there, and they couldn't really rotate to help mid. Their hope here was that, of course, the Lina would not win this mid lane, but the Lina has not been playing too aggressively, not going against the puck. Instead, it's actually been trying to get more lasses than anything, and that's been working out great for them. It was a great strategy to decide to do that. Oh, Sentry finds a Scod. There's the Frostbite, Slithering Crush, not Spike Carpus yet, and Panda just needs to start hitting it, but the Blade Fury is already wasted. The Slithering Crush number 2 is also available. The Crystal Nova to slow him down ever so slightly. Great Impale hits 2, but Tower 7 catches him with a Slithering Crush. Panda could even go down. The Ancients actually bring him down, and Escott survives by some sort of miracle in nature. They are not able to kill him off. Jesus Christ, he actually used a... that Vendetta lasting forever. Random Dragon Sleeve? Go around, yeah, exactly. Don't go near him, because they have a random Dragon Sleeve. I understand that. I'm glad you do. I'm glad. Always nice to see someone get into Dota, so that's why. Feel free to ask any questions you have about the game or anything. I will answer them all. I've been an analyst for 3 years now, so if there's anything I can do is talk to people that are new to the game. maybe not the pros, guys suck at the game, but you know, I've been playing it for 10 years actually. So, jeez, how time flies, how sad time flies. Panda will be taking a couple of the creeps in the jungle, also creating some stacks at the same time for the Lina. I can only imagine over the Juggernaut. I would give it the... both of them can really take the stacks. And neither of them is really needing the stacks right now. I mean, they have a 3,500 net worth lead, which doesn't seem like much, but in the early game, it's a considerable difference that allows you to have the... You know, it's really much the difference in the net worth between, say, Alina with Bloodstone minute 15 or Alina with Bloodstone minute 20. Minute 15 is the standard, good Bloodstone, minute 20 is like bad. The Magnet is similarly, because this is SCA, let's not forget, this difference in net worth means much more than other regions. Why? Another thing you have to understand about competitive Dota, if you watch a lot of it. SCA is a region that likes playing really aggressively. Let me just press a magical button, it's called gold per minute. Oh, what? Why is everyone's gold per minute so low? Because in SCA, they actually like killing each other so much that they forget about the whole farming thing. Even the highest goal per minute in this game, even though it's minute 10, does not surpass the 420 mark. Which is okay, I'm minute 10, but of course you would expect more people to be above that 300 mark. That's why they run so many aggressive tri-lanes. Oh, actually killed the Magnus with a Haunt. That's why the SCA is actually the region that, statistically speaking, runs the most aggressive tri-lanes. Because they just love that kind of tri-lane. Being able to crush the opponent is the name of the game for SCA. And so it is as well for the Russian region. So, the Prime NND here, very interesting that they're winning by that much net worth. In fact, a kill on Magnus doesn't even matter because, like I said, the net worth is not that high, and this playstyle they have is actually very beneficial to how the new update to the death rate, because the new death cost, I guess, yeah, death cost is 50 plus the net worth divided by 40. Net worth is this, as you can see. If your net worth stays low, but so does the enemies, they're not worth much when you kill them, but you're not worth much when you die. So if you do commit a mistake, it's much less punishable, or it's not as punishing when the mistake does happen. And so you're able to really get that snowball per se just by staying above your opponent constantly. It's what heroes like Vengeful Spirit and Mirana loves doing, but these guys just play like that with every single hero. It's a street fight. I keep telling people, SCA is a street fight. It's just like pulling each other into the mud, and nobody is allowed to breathe. Execration is trash if they lose it. I don't think so. The Prime NND is actually playing quite well. They're one of the top contenders of this tournament. In the group stages, they were actually in the mid-tier tournament. Like they were better than Dragon Kaon, which is the other Indonesian team. They've actually improved quite a lot. In these past 2 matches, they've been playing pretty well. Execration, on the other hand, has not been a team that's been too hot lately. So let's be honest, the constant roster changes are not helping the team whatsoever. It's just they don't have a team that they can build around. They don't have even a player they can build around. I've only seen Lil Meek been playing for them for quite a while, and he's not even, you know, a player you can really build around. Gabby also left. I believe Gabby was actually banned. They used a banned player for a while, which was BYB or BY something. I forgot his name. It was a banned player from Arrow Gaming. So I mean, they weren't really desperate if they had to use a banned player. Now, Puck gets a kill on Crystal Maiden, but that's not a big deal. Like I said, supports don't actually have that much gold because SCA style. They don't have that much net worth, so a kill on the support, especially with the current one. I mean, he steals his 50 West. Divided by 40, you get like, what, 50? So 100 gold, I think she's worth at most. Alright, in the bottom lane, I would not bet on Mavs, really. They're super inconsistent. I would not bet on Mavs. Especially recently. They've been losing a lot, so just in case. Trust my word here. Like, you don't bet on Na'Vi before. Remember when Na'Vi used to play against Power Rangers and a lot of people bet on them and Power Rangers was like 90% and they beat them? That kind of thing. Don't bet on them. Okay, the Nyx is dead. That was a great Liquid Blade. Just to destroy a squad, it takes away a lot of the initiation from the enemy team. They just do Blade Fury, though, which is a great steal. But of course, now, even though they have the Warlock Golem, they only have the Puck to help them, and the Puck is not even available yet. Dream Call in 4 seconds. This could be an easy team fight for Execration, turning this around. Freezing Field, though, not available. Magnus is coming in with the RP. So, what are they waiting for? There they go, the Puck, the Dream Call, catches out the Polar Juggernaut, destroyed in seconds. In comes the Magnus, but misses everyone with the RP. Sorry, misses everyone with the Skewer first. Now the RP also doesn't hit because he doesn't want to use it. Harley Quinn decided to go against NFR, will be an easy kill. And now Rusman will be able to TP in time. The Impale sees him, but it's a bit too late. Escod won't be able to stop that TP from happening. And the Bloodstone will come at a very good timing for Rusman, but they did lose a Juggernaut there. Thank you, Ivzu. I very much agree with what you're saying. I'm not even a better, but I mean, I watch so much competitive Dota, I cast so much competitive Dota that I assure you that I know some degree. Alright, Panda is now going to push this middle lane. They stole something off him, the healing one. That's not bad. They tried to deny, good try, but not successful enough. Losing the Juggernaut there was bad, but getting the Bloodstone on Lina is kind of worth it, and now they can still get kills. And the only thing they really need is the Blink Dagger on Slardar right now. They're really looking for that item to be able to have a bit more impact in the team fights, because relying only on your RP is a bit dangerous, we saw there. The RP doesn't have the biggest range, and the Puck can have so much more impact in the early game. And the Puck actually went for a Veil of Discord early on, so just amplifies his damage even further. However, this Roshan can fall pretty easily to this team. He shouldn't have much trouble taking out the Roshan. That comes with the Aegis for free for the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut will have an easier time surviving the Lina, so definitely give the Aegis to him. And even though they're a bit under level in terms of, well, I mean, the Juggernaut especially is a bit under level. The Spectre's the same level as he is. And in terms of net worth, he's still beating her by a bit, so that's fine. I don't think the Prime NND is too worried about this. This this Roshan also gives a bit of extra gold to the Slardar, allowing him to get the Blink Dagger at a better rate. And no, I don't think Execration threw the first game. I'm pretty sure Execration actually lost the first game because the Prime, or they even won the first game. The Prime threw for a second. They had a really good team fight potential, but they messed it up in the end because the Prime got really good RPs. I mean, this is true. The Prime plays well. Jesus, it's not like the Prime is a bad team. Neither of these teams are bad, but the Prime specifically is not a bad team. You really shouldn't underestimate them as much. Okay, they destroy the healing one from the Rubik. That's extra gold going for the Juggernaut. Oh no, the Puck blows them both up. The Impale Lease misses. Panda needs to get out of the Dream Call, and he will manage to do so with a Blade Fury. Had a moment of confusion, but he can finally retreat and not gonna lose his Aegis there. The F1 has to skewer himself away. Has a TP. Not gonna use it just yet because that Rubik was around, I can only presume. Even though the Rubik cannot stop the Blade Fury to stop you. And with that, they will continue to push these towers down. Next Assassin with a Midas. And yeah, I will try to cast more of the skills, I realize, because maybe if someone dying in 2 seconds, you might be very surprised. But they do have a lot of damage. The Puck went for the Veil of Discord. Veil of Discord amplifies the magical damage you receive by 25%. The magical damage in Dota is pretty powerful, much more than other games, because you can't actually increase it by too much unless you get Intelligence or Ether Lens or something like that. But it's still not really that big a deal. So you go for the Veil of Discord early on, gives you a good amount of armor, HP, etc., etc. Oh, okay, careful, Rusman. That's a lot of damage to him. Bloodstone available. Oh, he has to commit suicide, I think. Yep, has to deny himself. Good. At least he denied himself before he died. That's a lot of Bloodstone charges lost, though, which is bad. I don't know if they play with 4 stands, by the way. Technically, it doesn't say. Technically, they're not even allowed to play with 4 stands, but if they're going to lose this game, I guess it doesn't really matter. Anyway, like, the whole point is, I was trying to make the damage Yeah, the Veil Discord amplifies your damage greatly, which is why Execration is dealing so much damage with, of course, that puck. And the combination of Illusory Orb and Waning Rift is 560 magical damage, so that's a considerable amount, especially because the Veil Discord turns in PR. Oh, careful, as God. There's the Omnisize, they come out on him. They want to kill off this Nyx Assassin, and the Crystal Null will finish him off. They don't kill the puck, though, sadly, but they do stop some of the initiation from the enemy team, which is what they were looking for anyway. Rusmine trying to reach up that Golem. No, it's going to be BF1 who takes it. Or BFL. Either way, BFL is quite happy with that kill. And he's going to be able to get a Midas as well to his name. So the Midas after the Blink Dagger is a typical build now on Magnus. Blink Dagger first to give you a bit more teamfight potential. Midas afterwards to give you a bit more power in terms of late game and farming and whatnot. Because the Dandy Goberman is really useful on Magnus, but you might also want to go for the 12 strength sometimes. He actually went for the 15% spell amplification, which is weird. Oh, that's a dead slaughter. And the Hunt comes in, and Rusmine has to dream. I mean, he's stunned by the Dream Coil. They have to hurt him in some way. But Rusmine just walks away, and Panda starts hitting. He doesn't have the Omnicide, but he does have the Aegis. Harley Quinn is on really low health. The Shadow Ward is keeping him alive. The RP doesn't catch him. They only use it on the Rubik. The Rubik is eventually extinguished, but so is the Lina. Dies in the backlines. Trying to go on Escott. They actually missed the kill on the Spectre because Panda couldn't reach him after the Spectral Dagger was used. And oh, Puck taking a lot of damage from Panda. Panda continues to fight. Has a Blade Fury very soon. The Shrine has already been activated. Escott using Spike Carpets, but the Spike Carpets damage is prevented because Panda is spinning away. And once the Shrine is used, he TPs, deciding this is enough, guys. No more time to play. It's time to just leave this lane in favor of the Prime NND. Actually tastes like tea. Hey, anyway, like I was saying, the guys from the Prime NND still winning the game, but these constant team fights are not going too well for them. The lack of Blink Dagger and a Juggernaut is clearly paining him, and I think the Blink Dagger would be an even better item than the Diffusal Blade straight up, because you do need the damage against the Spectre, but god, that Spectre keeps getting away from you. And going to the Spectre the first thing is not the best of ideas. Lina also tries to rescind on her plus 40 damage to instead go for a plus 40 movement speed. Sorry, plus 50 damage for a plus 40 movement speed. And that's really useful for Lina, of course, because she's able to get a lot of movement speed, able to get easy light strike arrays, not killed as quickly. That's important because in the last team fight, they keep killing her by just the Puck having a great control over her in the mid game. Puck is a hero with high mobility. Both his Illusory Orb allow him to jaunt to it, and of course the Blink Dagger and the Yule Scepter, just in case they find someone easily. The Puck is thus able to just, you know, kite the Lina around the whole team fight, and as long as the Light Strike Array misses, then they got a clear kill onto the Lina. With this, frankly, Execration can destroy the Lina almost every single team fight, and the only real issue becomes the Juggernaut. But of course, the Juggernaut's concentrating the Spectre. And Spectre's not too strong against Juggernaut. In fact, he's rather weak. But for now, the Juggernaut only had the level 1 Omni Slash and not enough damage with only the Manta style. Now he's finally getting the help that he needs. Getting the Empower up, the Diffusal Blade is going to be next. He decides not to go for a Blink Dagger, but it is a cheaper item. And meanwhile, while this Juggernaut is pushing down bottom, they get a little Smoke Egg. In they go. The Puck just silencing him, dealing a bit of damage, not a big deal. And then there's a really interesting thing. At this stage of the game, it's pretty obvious if your new hero's not on the map that you went for a Smoke Egg. But you don't really expect a 3-man gank, especially with no cores, because both the Lina and the Juggernaut are showing themselves. So this could be a surprise for the guys at Execration. Catching out like someone like the Rubik, or even better, the Spectre. It seems like it's going to be the Rubik. It could also be the Courier, which would even be more valuable in this Rubik. Look what his blade used on him, and they can't quite get the Courier, so in the end, kind of a wasted. Oh, great! Skewer! Now they have to stun him out, but the Nyx was waiting in the shadows, ready to attack the Lina. She's been silenced for a long time. Rusmine has to run away, but her movement speed is not going to help at all. She's going to die again, and the buyback from the Rubik it means that they're going to fight, means that they're ready to fight. There's a blink. I mean, BFL, that's not your base. That's not your base. Where are you going? BFL. BFL, dude. Wrong way, dude. Where are you going, my man? Why do you want to die so badly? No, I'm kidding. It's okay. He had no other way to go. If he had decided to go this way, he would have obviously died. He couldn't just go back in RP. That was a very risky play from the Prime NND. And the Lina keeps getting caught up by the Dream Coil. Like I said, the superior mobility is screwing her over. And the weirdest part is she went for the Ether Lens even though she had a possible cast range upgrade already. And that's... like, you don't go for the cast range. You can go for the cast range upgrade, evade the whole Ether Lens, go for the Yule Scepter, and then even go for the Shiva's, or not Shiva's, sorry, go for the Shadow Blade, or even Shiva's later on, especially utilizing your movement speed, and then kite the enemy team, because right now, even though you are the most farm in the game, you're losing Bloodstone charges left and right, you're just leaking blood everywhere, and your Juggernaut is not the most reliable carry in the world. He decided to go for Blink Dagger. Thank you, Panda. You realized that was the way to go, and now they can actually kill the Spectre. Between him and the Magnus, who's soon to get a Shadow Blade, for better initiation and more importantly a Silver Edge to stop this fucking Spectre's damage and his dispersion. They're going to have a pretty easy team fight from then on once they get the Silver Edge so they can stop those kind of things. The only thing they need right now is to stop the puck as well. And that route needs to come out for sure, and he can't evade it, but of course the Yo Scepter is really annoying. They have to start punishing him with Light Strike Array, and the cast range might help with the Aether, but of course the Lina keeps getting killed off by the puck because the damage is too great right now. Panda takes away a Spectral Dagger. Oh, you can't spell that, I completely forgot. And it doesn't want to be initiated by the Knicks. To be fair, in constant team fights, another thing that they're missing is the centers. Oh, the Impale, catching the Crystal Maiden. There's the Haunt, go on the Crystal Maiden first. That's an easy kill into the Crystal Maiden. And Rizman just starts to run away with a Furious Soul. Should be quite easy. The Skewer from the Magnus is still available. Goes into Creeps, might just Shockwave the Creeps for kicks and shits and giggles. No, he's dead anyway. And maybe it's time to fight. The Omniscience comes out, but the Magnus is already dead. The Nyx Assassin died to the Omniscience, but what did that really do? Now they have to kill the puck. Well, that's the objective at the very least. They find the Rubik, Laguna's Blade, easy kill, and now 3 boxes is trying to kill R7 together with Harley Quinn. The Amplified damage is on both of them, so they can see them perfectly. There's no surprise here. Harley Quinn actually gets caught out by the Lina, but the plus 50 damage talent is not there, so they actually lack the damage to kill off the Juggernaut, or the Spectre. She keeps following. Second Last Strike Array. Blink Dagger's available. They're gonna go finally on the Spectre and kill her off. The Yo Scepter not yet finished, but the damage on Panda is so great. And the Warlock can't complete his TP. And the best way to cancel a TP is with your death, says the Juggernaut as they kill off the Warlock. You get 4 free kills. Execration. Not doing too well. Not doing too hot, might I add, because they're up against Lina. Right, they're not doing too hot because the Lina actually survives, recovers some little Bloodstone charges. All that work they did before, completely gone to hell. I mean, well, not entirely, but you get the point, right? The Bloodstone charges are really valuable for this Lina, and she is constantly getting them in these team fights, as long as he survives. So, right now, it's the Prime NND who have an upper hand in the game, who are getting good team fights, and the worst part, the late game is actually not that unbeneficial for them. The only thing is that Panda keeps dying to the goddamn puck. But besides that, they're doing pretty well. This late game for Spectre is surprisingly not that cool. Oh, careful, Escod. Light Strike Array. They stun both of them. They still have a Laguna's Blade. I don't think that's the best of options. Great facing field, though. And since they didn't have the Spike Carpers to stop it, now the Laguna's Blade plus the Dragon Slave stops the poor Nyx Assassin. And RP committed to this puck, and they're gonna get a double kill. That's exactly what they've needed to do this whole time. The Lina finally being effective in these team fights and not dying to the puck as easily. The starter is such a good support, doesn't even take the Bandit rune. Lina sees this as screw it. I mean, I'll take it. I have a bottle after all. And with that, she recovers good up to 9 Bloodstone charges. She wants to be at 10 to be in the desirable range of Bloodstone charges, but 9 is already a good amount. The Juggernaut himself does die, but he didn't lose much gold because he bought all his items before he died, so it's kind of okay for the Prime NND. Like I said, Execration are gonna have a hard time, even in the late game with a Spectre, though he's very powerful because he does go for the illusion game. And for those of you who don't know, illusion-based heroes are always late game heroes. There's not a single hero that uses illusions besides the Darkseer, and even he has a good late game. That doesn't have a good late game. You know, Phantom Lancer, Naga Siren, Terror Blade, Spectre, Chaos Knight, they're all really good late game heroes, and all the illusion-based heroes per se. I don't think. Is there anyone else that uses illusions besides them? I don't think so. I guess Arc Warden, but it doesn't really count because he uses it, not really an illusion. So yeah, it's mainly those heroes that use illusions. And they have, even if they don't have the best stack ins, the issue here is that the Spectre really has a terrible stack in. If you compare it to Terror Blade's 3.2 agility per level, for example, or to the Chaos Knight's 3.4, I think, strength per level, or the Naga Sirens as well, is it 2.6, I believe, agility per level, a 1.8 agility gain per level on the Spectre is pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic. Even the Juggernaut has more agility per level, so your illusions, who are based entirely on the stats you get, are not as powerful. And of course, one of your items for the Spectre is always going to be that Urn of Shadows. Sorry, not Urn of Shadows. That Radiance, which is so valuable on the Spectre. Yes, true, but that doesn't give you stats, making your illusions even weaker. And though your Dispersion and Desolate are very powerful items, very powerful skills, they can easily be dispelled by a Silver Edge, and BFL can definitely go for that coming the late game and squash the Spectre. The Fusible Blade is also coming out on the Juggernaut. It's going to come out sooner than the Spectre. He is himself going for the illusion gain to some degree, and the Juggernaut, let's not forget, has a lowered BAT, so he only has a 1.5 BAT. For those people that don't know, actually we'll explain this in a second because I think Magnus wants to kill someone. Okay, RP. That could have been a beautiful RP, but instead he uses a Skewer. The Haunt's already been used. Magnus is dead. NFR also has to sacrifice himself. There's even a Dagon. I didn't see who had it. I think it's the Puck. Yes, okay. The Puck to kill the Crystal Maiden. R7 misses Slithering Crush. They drop the base. Catch out the Lina. Also R7. The Yo Scepter. Now the Omniscience comes out. Can they do enough damage? The Fusible Blade is fresh out of the oven, but they already killed the Lina. The Fusible Blade, though, trying to stop Harley Quinn's damage, and Panda wants to kill off this Warlock Golem. For now, everyone's gonna go on to Panda. He knows it's a bad idea. He doesn't want to fight this too much, but he sees the Nyx Assassin and thinks, fuck it, I'm gonna Blade Fury myself away. The Healing Ward still alive, taunting the enemy team, and they can't really kill off Panda. Panda will able to go to his base, shrine up, and be back in action very soon. What did I say? What was I gonna say? I had a thought that I was talking, not illusion-based. Late game? Oh yeah, the BAT. What does BAT mean? For those people that don't know, it's base attack time. The average for heroes is 1.7. For Juggernaut is 1.45. And that increases his attack speed for every attack speed item he gets. It limits your attack speed, essentially, the BAT. You can't go... there's a formula to it, and essentially it's divided by the BAT. So the lower the BAT is, the more attack speed you get, and it's exponential completely. So in Juggernaut's case, the more agility he gets, the better he's used. Oh, that's the Skewer plus... Oh, beautiful! Skewer plus RP onto 2! Getting Escort and Harley Quinn. 2 cores for free. The Prime NND uses to equalize the score and, of course, get those charges back on the Lina. Bloodstone goes down to 6, goes back up to 8. This Lina has had a roller coaster of a Bloodstone, not entirely keeping those charges ever, but, you know, at least using them pretty well later on. She's went for the full-on spell amplification. I hope that means that's a Aghanim's Lina. Anyway. This is the second game. Yes, the Crystal Maiden dies very soon. The Blink Dagger, available. Then the Skewer. Wow, beautiful 4-step of the Warlock preventing the Skewer. R7 still want to come in with the Slithering Crush, but of course, it's going to be a bit harder. The objective is the Roshan. They do have an amplified damage on it after all, but it's going to be a bit hard to take it. Second amplified damage can't be used, so they lose the extra damage onto it for now. And as well, those illusions can actually kill creeps. Like I said, the reduced BAT and the crit, which also works in illusions, was fantastic. Oh, careful. The Rubik almost jumped in. In fact, a great Slithering Crush onto 2. The Shock deals a lot of damage to Blowmeek. In comes the Puck, but the Puck just commits suicide! They get a kill onto Rusmine, but Panda already takes the Aegis. And, sorry, no, they get a kill onto the Puck immediately thanks to the Laguna's Blade. And also, the Aegis is taken to the Juggernaut, so they don't lose anything in that engagement. They didn't even lose the cheese, I don't believe. Nope. Who actually has the cheese? I can only imagine, yeah, it is actually Panda who got the cheese, which is an item that cures you completely by 2,500 health and 1,500 mana, so it's like an Aegis that you can activate. It's fucking great. And you can see the score here, 0-1 to Prime, as you can see. So if anyone asks, don't answer them. Just let them see the score on the screen, or tell them there's a score on the screen. There's a reason we put it up here. It's kind of frustrating as a streamer for people to ask. There's a score here. Alright, Panda. Oh, what did he just do? Did he just blink in onto the Warlock? That was a terrible idea. That was a bit risky. Right, whatever. They're starting to take this tower. Only the Juggernaut really deals damage to this tower, unfortunately, because he's the only one that actually has physical damage. Rusmai decided to go for a magical damage amplification build, so that's not that great. And Panda now decides to go onto the Warlock, who is doesn't come in town. He still has a cheese and Aegis, so it's fine. They're gonna break his Aegis very soon, though. The RP available, they could fight this. In fact, the Magnus is looking for an in, but Panda is gonna back out. They're going to wait for them to be a bit closer. If they all get around this area, that's a beautiful RP. The Haunt comes out. It stops all the Blink Dagger from the Magnus. Everyone's retreating. The Spectre, what are you doing? They Haunt us to break the smoke, and they actually catch the Magnus. Really bad positioning by BFL, but they can survive. The Oasis already came out on the squad and destroys the Nyx Assassin like the bug he is. Now the Puck jumps too far, and he bit off a bit more than he could chew. Couldn't you goddamn Puck? They destroy him with the Laguna's Blade, and Panda eats the cheese and survives that engagement thanks to the Oasis as well. They kill 2. The main initiation... And now a smoke gang by the Prime NND, ready to attack from behind. This smoke will give them the ability to just initiate however they like, and they still haven't used their RP. They force a buyback on the Puck. So what's the Prime target now? The Puck! Oh, wait, no, the Telekinesis will stop the Magnus from doing anything! He's gonna die here without being able to use his RP! And that's the team fight gone for the guys of the Prime NND. They have to retreat immediately. The Manta style to stop the upheaval damage for a bit, or the upheaval slow for a bit. NFR using a freezing field before she dies, knowing that she could give her teammates some time, and she will help everyone escape here. The Prime NND managed to make it out alive, but God, are they blessed? Are they telling God that thank you so much for what you did, because that was a pure miracle that they made it out of there alive. With this, the Slaughter will be coming in the sprint, and of course the Blink Dagger. Juggernaut himself grabs the Ultimate Orb and a point booster. Or that's all he needs to help himself out. And Harley Quinn, the Spectral Dagger just going within the trees. That right now, it's actually does not looking too good for Execration, so they have to farm a bit more safely than they're doing right now, because otherwise these wards are... Oh no, what are you doing, Harley Quinn? Oh, thank Christ for that. They even prevent the kill on the Rubik, or Rape Link, and in fact the Rubik puts a ward down there that ensures that these rotations are seen from now on. They have a gem on anyone. They do have a sentry though. If they see the Rubik go around here, they might just put a sentry down. They might just put it anyway just for the mix. There it is. They find the ward. That's really valuable. Taking away that vision from the Execration team. And now the 225 health extra for the Slardar. No surprise there. It's so much better than going once a carry or whatever. And the Panda himself goes to reaching level 25. So is the Lina, who got in a lot of experience, by the way. And her net worth is not really faltered at all this whole game, so it's pretty impressive. I don't know exactly what happened, but every time she lost, every time she died, she didn't really lose much out of it. Hey, the Bloodstone also helps out to some degree, of course, because she comes back very soon and she can at least recover for every death. She only has 10 Bloodstone charges, so it's not like she's snowballed out of control or anything, even though the net worth seems to indicate that. What they've actually managed to do is just to stop the Spectre's farm by a lot to make it a 400 home 4 farm. With a Radiance, the Spectre having 404 gold per minute is horrendous. And that's not really the Spectre's farm fault, sorry. It's Prime NND who's doing a really good job of stopping the Spectre from attacking anyone and really farming or having any time for herself. It's honestly like a woman that's being constantly annoyed by her boyfriend, and in this case the boyfriend being Lina. So they're doing a really good job. Ironically, it's lesbian boyfriend. Oh wait, R7 really close to surviving, but the Warlock came in with the last hit and dies. Right, I guess you can be a girlfriend too. Let's not be homophobic. You could be a girlfriend. Lina and Spectre are dating, and Lina's just been crushing her the gold game. And Juggernaut's part of this relationship is like a threesome weird thing. So they're just being really nagging partners, you know, and they're having a hard time because of that. Execration's like, well, I just want to get my farm, have my alone time. I have goals. I want to concentrate on my career. In this case, his career is farming, but they're unable to do that because of the constant fight. And oh wow, that was really good kill into the Juggernaut. Now going into the Crystal Maiden. NFR is dead as well. Finkel actually committed to this, and the Haunt might even get his 3rd kill. But the Prime NND are known to not sacrifice more than 2 in a row, because that would be excessive. They haven't taken a Rax yet, so you shouldn't be so confident in the Prime NND. You're just winning by a lot of net worth, surely, but 11,000 at this point in the game is not as much. Going back to net worth, though, again, your Lina and your Juggernaut are where the main farm is concentrated. Your Lina went for much more of a mid-game build, meaning that her health activity is slowly decreasing as the game goes forward. I wonder if she's going to go for the -4 second Dragon Slave cooldown, just for a 4-second Dragon Slave. Oh, there they go. Doesn't catch anyone out. Also, please, Pro, have some respect for the teams. This match is not a joke. These teams are trying their best, obviously, to win. Because if they lose, I just want to reiterate, if Execration lose this match, then it's done for them. This best of 3 is done. This tournament is done for them. They don't have the chance to come back. They're in the losers brackets. This is an elimination match, and the Prime NND are trying desperately to stay here, and the Execration are trying also desperately, even more desperately, to cling on to this last match, try to force a best of 3 to go to the 3rd match and not lose this game, or not lose this tournament, of course. Because even if they don't get first, they want to get around somewhere within the 3rd or 4th spot, not go down in the 1st round. Because Execration then would have gone down to 2 2-0s. And granted, the first game was against the MVP Revolution, probably the favorites coming into this tournament, but still, losing to 2 2-0s in the playoffs and also not doing too well in the group stages, just barely qualifying over Rex Regum Kaon and over 458 Production, who both lost, by the way. You don't want to do that. I mean, you don't want to go out of a tournament like that. That puts such a pressure into your organization. And if Execration, someone who's still having a lot of issues finding a proper roster that will stay with them, loses another tournament, like that's just worse for them. Just adds to the problem. You know, it just adds more wood to the fire. So yeah, they're trying really hard. Trust me. Even though they might be making mistakes, whenever they get kills, they're doing it well. And any mistakes they do, it's just a lack of cohesion in the team. It's not really a lack of them trying or them putting the effort in. Now, Scotty's done on Ponda, by the way, so it makes him a bit harder to kill. That's exactly what they needed for these next team fights. The Puck has not gone for Axe. He's had to go for a Dagon build, which is not a bad build considering the 10% spell amplification. Amplifies your Dagon considerably, and you have a nice intelligence gain of 2.4 per level. I say nice, but nice especially within the new changes, where 14 points actually gives you 1 extra % in damage. So I think the spell amplification is, what, 9.3? So in total, you almost have a 20% spell amplification, meaning the Dagon level, the level he has now, with 800 damage, level 5, it actually adds 160 damage to the Dagon. That's not bad. Every time you use it, 160 damage Dagon. And your Illusory Orb and Waiting Rift also deal an extra combo. The combo deals an extra 140 damage. Okay, Nyx Assassin, wait, careful, there's the RP, catches a lot of them, and now Ruswanska starts to hit them. That's the Warlock gone, and also the poor Nyx Assassin. They even cleaned up the floor from the Spectre Illusions and kill off the Puck before he can run away. Beautiful Slithering Crush, catches both the Spectre and the Warlock, and that is a GG, that is a Prime NND taking a team wipe, and now going for the last tier 3. They know they want to go for Mega Creeps, but Rusman has another plan. He says, it's time for the racks to go down. And he TPs down bottom to try to push this lane as well. He's pushing both lanes. This is really smart. Everyone in the enemy team is dead. And they want to force some buybacks. But the puck, the initiation machine, has no buyback. And he had the Dream Coil, so he could have attacked them. So right now, the Prime NND are in the prime position to win this game. The Rubik bites back, so does the Spectre, but what can they really do? They don't even have a Haunt ready, and the Rubik, all he can do is telekinesis someone. In fact, if the Juggernaut just jumps on them with a Blink Dagger, Lomi could be dead, so really careful with what you're doing here. Steals Naida, that's not bad. Panda continues to push these towers down. Harley Quinn wants to put them into pressure just with the Radiance, and they go. They try to catch her out. Shiva's not gonna find her, but the Newsletter will find the Warlock. They want to destroy the Golem, but of course, he doesn't take that much damage. The Healing Ward has also been used, so they help him now. Now the Golem coming down. BF1 does not have anything to help these guys out. In fact, Rouge might not even die to damage of the Spectre. She commits suicide with a Bloodstone, heals everyone in her team. Panda's still alive, and they're not taking advantage of this push at all. Now destroying the Crystal Main. He was trying to Freezing Field in the middle of it with a stolen Frostbite. Well, the Prime NND, they just won a team wipe, and I mean, they took a lane. Actually, no, sorry, they took 2 lanes of racks, so the Juggernaut also pushed the mid lane, so that's fine. They took a bottom lane as well, because technically the melee racks are all they needed, and now they could keep pushing top. They didn't want to force this too much. Of course, if they had killed the Spectre there, but they didn't have an Omni Slash or an RP, so sacrificing the Magnus possibly without the buyback as well on your Juggernaut or on your Magnus would have been really dangerous. And the Juggernaut got buyback after he killed those racks, but not before. So when he started there, he didn't have a buyback. It was a bit more dangerous than you think. Which team is strongest in late game? Good question. It's hard to say, though most people would say Spectre's team. Oh, wait, careful, Panda. What the fuck was that Impale? I mean, he would have evaded anyway with Blade Fury, but that was a terrible Impale. And this, the continuation of a team fight. Dream Coil catches through the Haunt as well. And Panda should be seeing a bit of damage. Uses the Omnislash a bit too early. The Haunt is still soaking all the damage of the Omnislash. In comes the Lina. Has the BKB, so she can actually destroy the Nyx Assassin. And they do manage to finish him off. No, the Omnislash comes out from the Rubik. The Juggernaut's already dead. And the guys at the Prime NND might start dropping soon if they don't do something about this. The Freezing Field not coming out by NFR just yet. They want to kill the poor Slaughter. Crystal Maiden's already dead. In 3 boxes, won't find R7 in time. The guys from the Prime NND will be retreating from this team fight because that is not a good team fight to take. That Omnislash got soaked up completely by the Haunt. Right. Now talk about what team has better late game. It's hard to say because honestly, you go with Execration theoretically because they have a Spectre, and people always say, "Ooh, Spectre, you don't want to go against Spectre late game." But nowadays, that's not so true because the Silver Edge takes away your passives. Like I said, the Juggernaut is a really good late game hero against Spectre because frankly, the Omnislash is. It might be evaded by her, but Blade Fury prevents all the radiance damage, so chasing is a bit harder. It also prevents desolate damage, and the Juggernaut can burst her down pretty easily and utilize her low armor to really hurt her. That's not a good play, Lina. Careful. Oh, wow, the Dream Coil completely missed. Nyx Assassin, not going to catch her with the Impale. That was so close, but it was mine. It's going to TP away. Right, and so in the late game, the Juggernaut versus Spectre is kind of equal, honestly. But Spectre can have more impact in team fights. However, you have an RP and a Slithering Crush and a Freezing Field. You have a bit more team fight in the Prime NND side, though the puck is good. His Dream Coil starts being a bit weaker as the game goes on, as opposed to the RP, which is always strong. The Spectre, the Warlock similarly with his Rock, it starts being much weaker as the game goes on. It's only a 1-second stun later on in the game, and even though it does go through BKB, so the team fight in the Prime NND is a bit stronger, and Lina is much more of a late game carry than Puck is until Puck reaches level 25. So who has the late game? It depends on what stage of the game and the execution completely. Right now, it's definitely the Prime NND's game. They do have an advantage, even with the heroes. But when it's minute 60, minute 80, maybe the Spectre with an illusion-based lineup is a bit better, and she can have more impact in the team fights. Oh, and sorry if the volume mic is too loud and it screams too much. I'm just getting really hyped up for these matches. Oh, Haunt comes up again. They actually kill the Lina super quickly. That's not good. Harley Quinn is still rolling around knowing that the Haunt images are around, and the whole point is to go on Panda, but they're not going to find him. Okay, Execration though, secure this Roshan, or at least try to secure this Roshan. The Lina has no buyback, so this is going to be an easy Roshan for them. However, the lanes are going to keep pushing while this happens, especially this bottom lane. They might take a range Rex just for free. And the Prime NND are not going to let them take this Roshan either. Wow, there's an illusion there. I think that was a Juggernaut illusion. I can only imagine. He's going for Basher, which is a great way to stop the Spectre as well. Let's not forget that. The Spectre actually is a hero that's very weak against bashes and whatnot because, well, she has to deal damage. And though she's quite tanky, she can get kited She doesn't get kited easily, but she does get bashed easily and just destroyed like that. Again, because of her low armor. Her low agility game make it so that her armor is not too strong, and usually like going for HP to take advantage of dispersion a bit more. And we'll talk about that in a second. Oh, NFR takes a whole armor set by the Rubik and dies. Actually, pretty good rock, but the BKB available on the BF1, and she can just walk away from the Dream Coil. Not deciding to. Panda just grabs the Aegis quickly and says, fuck it, let's get out of here. What the hell was that RP? Catch the puck though, could die. The Omni Slash is all they need. Panda, jump in there, help him. Omni Slash, do something on the puck, but no, they were afraid of that phase shift. Now the puck deals a lot of damage to the Magnus, and the Juggernaut survives this all, and now the Lina finally joins in. The objective, Nyx Assassin, and they do have the damage to kill him. All they need is a Laguna's Blade and a bit of a slow for the Diffusal Blade. That Golem can't even kill PFL, and in the end, the Execration will lose 4. A puck, I didn't even see how he died. What the hell, was that just an Omni Slash that he used at the end? And the puck actually, well, decimated by the Juggernaut. With this, the Prime NND are in the prime position to really attack the towers against Execration, and more importantly, take this tier 2, which allows them to not go for Mega Creeps. That's the important. That's fine, just some fine, then. Not everyone's supposed to like the casting. But appreciate you being nice about it. I like the feedback. I'm never gonna call someone out for feedback. So I'm sorry if I hope it's not ruining the experience of the game. That's something I would care about. If it is, just tell me. I can always lower my mic quality. Right, Panda. Help with the Empower, and I mean, this deals too much damage. He has even got a Moonshard to himself, so he has a lot of farm now, and he is very hard. I mean, he decided to go for the Moonshard over another item because, of course, he needed the extra attack speed, and like I said, the BAT really benefits him in terms of attack speed. So now the tower's gonna go down. A Skewer that even catches Harley Quinn. They don't have an RP though. Beautiful Impale. Now the Haunt also comes out. What the hell is coming out? But from the guys with Prime NND, they actually just used all their ultimates onto them, and they're still okay. They didn't lose anything. In fact, they're gonna go into the Warlock. Both Rubik and Juggernaut start spilling, but the Rubik is just gonna eat up an Omni Slash. So is the Warlock. Both of them die. And Harley Quinn in the trees trying to run away with the Prime NND because he knows that they can just kill him anytime. The Aegis is popped, and the Puck doing a really good job with the Dagon, but is that going to be a good enough job as Panda comes back up and starts attacking the Rex? And the whole point of this is to go on the Rex. You have nothing to stop Panda, and he still has the cheese. There's the Fusel Blade, stops Escon in his tracks, but Escon can always force himself away. Now the melee Rex are going to go down to Panda. The Impale still comes out, and the damage from Puck is so big that Juggernaut has to go down. Now the attack from the Slardar, they even use an amplified damage to Harley Quinn. They need an RP, but they don't have the mana right now. The Skewer even fails, and they want to kill Panda first, or NFR, sorry. Meanwhile, Roose minding the backlines, kills off the Nyx Assassin, cooks up the bug, and Brutal Savage Wreck comes up as they destroy that annoying bug. But with this, the guys of the Prime NND, sorry about that, the guys of the Prime NND will still be taking the 3 racks, losing the Juggernaut in the process, and getting the Mega Creeps for them. This is looking really bad for Execration, and there's something that Spectre does not deal well against. Oh, never mind! They don't have the Mega Creeps because they actually were getting this rack, these racks, these barracks, the ranged racks from the bottom lane actually survive against the assault from the Prime NND, and they just need to take that. Had the Puck not been there, the Juggernaut would have been so much more powerful, but they actually stopped this cheese usage with the Dagon. That Dagon deals a ridiculous amount of damage. Man, don't fight in the comments though. I appreciate that, body of Meiser. Don't fight in the comments, man. Everyone's being cordial. Yeah, I like the chat. It's been really nice today. We've been learning a lot of new things about Dota. And this game does not look good for the Execration. No, it certainly does not. The Basher on the spec is ready. He's going to go for an Abyssal Blade as well. Harley Quinn is, trying to survive the attack. Oh, telekinesis from behind. There's a Dream Coil. Died. Dead poor Slardar. Even loses the gem there, so that's actually pretty good for Execration being able to get the gem. I mean, if they came back from this, it would be epic as hell. It would really be epic. There's still a chance. See, the Spectre might not be the best against Mega Creeps, but he's okay against Super Creeps. They are defending one last range racks. This could just be illusion spammed and destroyed, but of course these illusions give 50 gold each, so you don't want to just feed them to the enemy team either. And you still have a cheese in the Juggernaut, so there's a possibility that you might just say, screw it, let's wait for the next Roshan, and let's fight when the next Roshan is up. After all, that Aegis really helped us last team fight because the Dagon is ridiculous. Or, alternatively, my favorite option here would be, Panda, please buy a BKB and just go in without a Blade Fury. I know BKB is not the best item on the Juggernaut, you don't usually need to buy it, but of course, in this game, when you're up against a Pug, decide to go for a Dagon, instead blowing up, he's blowing up your Juggernaut, then yes, it's the option to go for. You need to be able to defend against this Puck, and more importantly, that BKB can just be kept in your stash, and you don't need it anymore. You just need to use it once in the fight, and then you're set, and then you keep on fighting with the BKB right in your stash, because the stats don't matter at all, and the BKB effect even stays even if it's in your stash. So then the puck can't Dagon you, and okay, this is the dead Magnus. He tries to TP, but of course the Impale comes in time. Also the Dagon damage. Goodbye, Magnus. Goodbye. You know the worst part about it? The Dagon actually deals pure damage essentially because nobody has any magic resistance in the enemy team. And sorry, in the Prime NND. Look at it. Actually, this is better. Nobody has any magic resistance. No hood or anything. The Glimmer Cape is the only thing that we see. The cape, including the cape, 15%. I mean, I think based. Yeah, 15% base. So just the cloak, and the Glimmer Cape helps you with the. If you activate on someone. Besides that, though, the Veil Discord makes it so that the 25% base resist is gone, so essentially the Dagon is like pure damage, which is ridiculous. Oh, they find that Scott, and they do want to punish him for this. A Haunt already came out. That's a wasted Haunt. I don't know what the plan was here. In fact, the puck actually does kill the Crystal Maiden in the backlines, but as a result, they kill off the Nyx Assassin. So as an off-laner for a Crystal Maiden, I think Execration, even if though they're losing, they shouldn't be taking those trades, especially with a Haunt use. If they fought now, they could really punish the Spectre, but of course they don't have their own RP, so it's not the best thing to fight. However, you saw how powerful that BKB has been on Lean, right? I think we need a BKB on Panda next. And there it is, he's starting to build it. It is Team Filipino. Execration is a Filipino team. I mean, they are the Filipino team for most people. Most people didn't even know Dota, like Filipino Dota existed until they met Execration. Or most people only followed the Filipino team Execration, that's what I meant. Most people didn't know that the Filipino teams existed besides Execration for the longest time. Granted, now we have a bunch of them. I mean, Rave is not existing anymore, but, you know, TNC, and also you have, what's Happy Feet and whatnot. That was weird. A little lag. Okay. You have Happy Feet, Execration. Who else is in this tournament that's actually Filipino? Let me see. That's actually it. It's only them two. Huh. I think it's only Happy Feet and Execration, but Happy Feet is probably the top tier Filipino team right now, where Execration is the second tier team. And well, TNC is the top team. Then second comes Happy Feet, and third comes Execration. Happy Feet is in that weird spot. I think GeekFam might be Filipino as well, but I'm not entirely sure if they're Filipino or Singaporean. I don't know why I confuse the two. It's a wide variety of countries. Remember years ago when the Dota or PD Cup or most Dota tournaments didn't have any teams from Malaysia or Mongolia or India even, or hell, Indonesia didn't have any teams, even though they were pretty good at Dota, or not pretty good in the sense they played a lot of Dota because that game is really popular there. They didn't have any teams, and now they do. It's beautiful. It's beautiful how our little game is evolving into different communities, getting teams from everywhere. Given enough time. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Illusion spam, easy stuff. Oh, Panda coming with damage on the Manta style. He has to get away though, and these are definitely racks that are going to go down. Yep. He utilized that illusion rune very well to take on these racks, and he was surprised them with Manta style because they didn't think that those were illusions. And of course the Manta style then came as a surprise. They took mega creeps, and now this is looking bad because Execration does not have great mega creep defense. A puck is terrible at defending against mega creeps. Oh, the RP actually catches the Nyx. The Haunt's already used, but they've actually forced the Spectre into a really bad position. The Rock used, but they also bring the poor Warlock together with the Spectre here with a second RP, and that was a really good refresher, stopping Harlequin in his tracks. Great E-Blade to not make him receive any damage, but BFL would just decide to go on the Rubik. Rubik has the stolen Omen Slash. He's going to go in. The Crystal May is actually destroyed by 3 boxes, but right now the Spectre is the main target of aggression, and she's been stunned out. Now destroyed by the Shockwave. 110 seconds with the Spectre. There's no way they're surviving this. The Rubik is also getting destroyed. Nobody has buybacks in the team of Execration, and Spectre actually decide not to save for buyback. Wow, that was a really good E-Blade Dagon combo, but that's a dead puck. And the Spectre, like I said, decided not to save for buyback because he decided to go instead for an Abyssal Blade. Now the puck also dead. Southern Crush, quick kill, but that was a painful kill to watch on this Spectre because they kited him around like crazy. That Haunt and a double RP was great. And I couldn't even tell what's going on, to be honest, because the Haunt actually lags my whole screen, but I can only presume that Prime NND took a second RP with a Skewer, took the Warlock and the Spectre as well, and they put him in such a difficult position, someone who doesn't have the best positioning in the world. So they kited the Spectre like hell, Lita being really effective, and the Prime NND end up taking this match against Execration 2-0. And eliminating Execration for this tournament. So, I am sorry, Execration. They're out of this tournament, but Prime NND at least have the luck to surpass them and represent Indonesia in this tournament. One more Filipino team left, and one more Indonesian team left. Who's going to win this rivalry? Who knows? That said, guys, this is the game for today. There's no more games for today, so that's the last game. My name has been DSwordfish. I've been the cast for today. Hope you enjoyed the cast. If you do wish to watch more of my cast, feel free to follow me on Twitter at DSwordfish. I'll put the link in the chat. And if you didn't like the cast, you know, feel free to tell me why. why I'm always open to criticism, or just flame me in the chat and fucking insult me. Whatever. I don't. I guess I won't listen to you then, though. But yeah, do feel free to follow me there. You can also watch the replays for this game if you couldn't, you know, put it in full screen or there was issues with Smashcast. I always upload them on YouTube, and that link is in the Twitter, in this Twitter description if you're interested. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 CEST or at 16 SGT with some more Dota 2 between the teams of, I think tomorrow is the game between, tomorrow's May 20th, right? So Happy Feet and Zhao Dian, and later on we'll have the game between Nasty Potatoes and the Prime NND. Tune in. I'll tune in tomorrow to see those games. I'll see you then, guys. Thank you for watching, and until next time.